Hi everybody, welcome to myfootballmentor.com. My name is Brad Yehaven, and today I am privileged to be sitting with Coach John Carroll of Oceanside High School. Now, if you follow high school football and you live in the state of California, you're going to be very familiar with the success of the program here. John's directed it for 23 stunning seasons. But if you're in the Midwest or maybe the East Coast, you might not be familiar with what Oceanside High School has done. So I'm going to spend a few moments with John and just ask him some insight that he's learned over the last 23 seasons of success that he's had here. But just to bring you up to speed, if you aren't familiar with what he's done, since winning the CIF San Diego section title in 1995, the Pirates have played in 13 championship games and won 11. They've reached the semifinals in each of the last 18 consecutive years. Oceanside was the first high school to win a state championship, and they did that in 07 and then again in 09, right?
Yes.
Yep. So they kind of represented the San Diego section and have done that extremely well. And they've just built a marquee program here. They've had 8 straight trips to Qualcomm.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And they've 7 consecutive of those they won. They've produced 13 Division I scholarships in the last 3 seasons. So that's amazing to me. And certainly as a parent, you wonder, wow, what are the odds of my kid getting a Division I scholarship? To think that 13 kids from here in the last 3 years. Our very own receiver coach, Eric Van Tassel, was with the program when they first began this amazing streak. The first championship was in 95. Is that when Eric was here?
1995, yes.
Okay.
He stalked the sidelines right next to me.
Awesome. And so that, I guess the first thing, has it really sunk into you? As I read through some of these, and we could probably dig up a million more facts. Has it really sunk into you to what you've really accomplished here? Do you ever reflect on that?
Quietly and infrequently, because I think when you start looking behind, I think your days ahead have ended, and we're not done. I'm not done. So as long as I think that's the kind of stuff that you deal with when you retire.
Yeah.
And you look back and say, hey, wow, boy, that was pretty incredible. But along the way, you better not spend too much time thinking about it because somebody's gaining on you.
Yeah. Well, and given the limitations that I think someone like myself would notice, is you're not a private school, so you can't recruit kids. I know when I looked at my son, when he went out for freshman football, there's well over 100 kids that show up. I don't think you got anything near that here. So given these limitations of the school size, the fact you're not a private school, how have you been able to accomplish what you have?
It's a factor of many things. First of all, it was the first 6 years before we won a CIF championship, so it took us 6 years to kind of figure it out what exactly it was that we wanted to do to get our identity. Since those first 6 years, it's stability. It's a stable coaching staff. While there's trade over in position, coaching, the key elements have been together for multiple years. During that period of time, we kind of figured out what works, at least what works for us here at Oceanside High School, whether that's the off-season program, how to deal with that, expectations of student athletes, the demands that we have of our football players and their time, and our expectations of their practice effort, game effort, off the field, on the field. It's the strategy, stability. It's the same offense, it's the same defense, slightly tweaked on a given year to accentuate something that someone in the team or the program does particularly well. It's just the continuity of staff, of expectations for students. They know what they're getting into when they get here. They know what they can expect. There are no major wholesale changes any given year. And I think that builds a commonality that allows for high expectations out on the field that kids are ready to jump through.
Wow. So consistency's been a word that I keep hearing you say,
Right.
that continuity, and I think
Right.
that's probably real
Right,
important.
it's the same offense, it's the same defense, it's the same kicking game, it's the same expectations of students, it's the same off-season program. What changes is there might be a different face coaching a particular position on a given year. There's a new wrinkle in the offense or a new wrinkle in the defense or a new adjustment, but really it's stability. And that has to come not just from within the football program, that has to come from the community, where Oceanside, I think, could be fairly said is a football community, from our district office in support, from our school board in support, from our administration in support. While they're not involved in the day-to-day activities, they have to support the day-to-day activities, and they do in Oceanside. And the families come here supporting it. There's, now I'm coaching kids of players that I coached, 23 years ago, which is exciting and fun. So it's been a long time. It's been a great ride, and would like to keep it going for a few more.
Yeah. I know that players, parents, coaches, certainly in Southern California, have admired what you've done here. And if I were a high school football coach and I were to come spend a week watching John Carroll and his staff coach this program, what would be one thing that I might notice?
Well, I know what I'd like you to notice. I'd like you to notice energy. I'd like you to notice passion. I don't think the game of football can be played with anything less than the utmost passion. And that has to be, that doesn't occur on Friday nights. That passion is the Monday practice, the Tuesday practice, the Wednesday practice, the Thursday practice, the game itself, all 4 quarters of the game, each play at a time, one play at a time. It's the weekend preparation by the staff, the weekend film review by the players with the team. Everything has to have a sense of urgency. Everything has to have a sense of passion and a sense of purpose. Nobody wants to waste their time, but we all have to understand that to be successful in this endeavor does require a great deal and amount of time.
Yeah, and if we were to watch what happens in the off season here in the summer and in the off season, what's something that maybe that you guys emphasize here during off season programs?
Well, the end season is intense. It's intense for players, it's intense for coaches, it's intense for everybody that's involved. There are no breaks. The off season cannot be that way, in my opinion. Maybe some programs are that way. I like to run an off season program that is more individual based, not team based, that it's about, there's different phases of every season. And the first phase after the season is over is kind of relaxation. Get away from it for a little while. The second phase is to start the personal development, to get bigger, to get faster, to get stronger, to get more athletic as an individual, to improve the physical skills necessary to succeed at the positions that you play. And then from there, it starts moving into group phases, where now we've got groups of players, skill, linebackers, linemen, whatever, doing activities together that impact their group's success. But it's still not the team. So now we're in part, we're working as a part, an individual to a part of the team, and then we build it up to spring football, where now it's about the team. And then we go back through the summertime, and that spring football is an intense time. We want to create that same level of intensity of expectations out in spring that we do in the fall. It's a taste of what's to come. High energy, nonstop, not standing around, people moving, well organized. The summer backtracks a little bit. The summer goes back to a little bit more of the individual, the physical training aspect of it, the group work, and then very little teamwork. And then it all starts, of course, with the high level of two-a-days and intensity and getting ready for that first game. And then it's just a nonstop fire of every week. Next, when something bad happens, you got to put it aside. You got to move on. You got to learn from it. And something good happens, you can't let it go to your head. You got to put it aside, learn from it. And there's something positive in every defeat. There's something negative in every victory. And you got to find what those things are. And constantly, it's improved. You tell the kids it's not about how good you are week 1. It's about how good you are week 14.
Well, and it's neat to hear you talk about the individual responsibility that each kid is going to take to become better, and I think I'm sure that you probably see these kids leave this program and apply those lessons in their lives later on as they're pursuing new careers. And
One of the things we're excited about, we've got a number of Oceanside police officers that are ex-pirates. Got a fireman, military, business, community leaders, people that I played the game, you played the game. There is something special about the game of football. I played other games as well, but there's something special about it. The requirements, the expectations, the demands that are put on you to be successful, and what you have to go through to be successful, they are cutting edge for teenage kids. And done right, and they can be done wrong, but done right, they're going to make anyone who participates, from the most talented athlete to the least talented athlete, a better person. Done right.
And with that, what drives Coach John Carroll personally? I think of the countless hours in the film room and the study and the preparation that you and your staff do. What drives you personally?
First of all, you got to have a love for the game. And then, the neat thing about football is that it's a coach's game. It's a player's game. The players are playing the game. They have to do all the work. They have to have the glory and the success and the rewards, et cetera. But coaches know that every play is impacted by a coach's decision. And the variables that go into it. You got the 3 phases of the game, and each phase has different phases within their phase. You've got the offense, the defense, the kicking game, and you can separate it out to your long yardage situations, your first down situations, your short yardage. There's a unquantifiable amount of variables that you have to prepare for in every phase of the game. And every game, every snap, every down requires some decision based upon the situation that you're in that can have an impact on the outcome of the game. And that's exciting for a coach. It makes it fun. At the same time, it's always got to be players win and coaches lose. You never want to point the finger at a kid. If a kid fails, it's because the coach failed to get the kid ready to go, and that's our expectations on ourselves. And I always tried to instill with my assistant coaches and myself that when the kid succeeds, we're going to praise the kid, but deep down inside, we know we helped them succeed, and that we had something to do with that success. The flip side is when the kid fails, I think we have to take ownership of the failure. You can't point the finger at the kid. It's we didn't do the job of getting the kid ready to play or putting the kid in a position to be successful. And number one on decision-making on the field Friday night, strategic decision-making going into a game, it's all about use of personnel. It's identifying what your kids do well and accentuating that, and what your kids do poorly and hiding and staying away from that, and trying to disguise it so that the opponent can't exploit your own weaknesses. And that's what goes on every week, every season. It's what makes each particular year as fun, is you graduate a CIF championship football team, but you got another group of kids coming back, and you got the challenge of making these guys the very best possible football team. So unlike the pros, where they lose a few guys and they got to bring in a few more guys, we got to deal with what we got, and we got to get the most out of them. And it's what makes each season brand new. I guess it gives a middle-aged guy youth, excitement, enthusiasm. When you lose that, it's time to get out.
Yeah, well, and walking in the foyer as we came here, I saw those shelves just loaded with trophies, CIF championships, state titles. And it's kind of neat if you think about what these kids experience, to know that you had something to do with probably one of the top 5 memories they're going to have, on planet Earth is being in Qualcomm Stadium playing in the state championship. It's got to rank up there, and so to have that many kids that have built some lifetime memories here with you is pretty awesome.
Well, I know my own high school memories are incredible. They're indelible in my brain, and they will be, till my passing. And I think that's probably true of most of the kids that put in the kind of intense effort that you have to put in to play the game of the high caliber game of competitive high school athletics or college athletics. So it's I'm asked the question, you win 7 CIF championships in a row. Okay, does it ever get old? No, it never gets old because it's not the same team. It's a different group of kids. It's you went through different adversity to get there. Every team's got adversity, whether it's injuries or problems or illnesses or whatever it is. You have to adapt, you have to adjust, and you got to make good with what you got. And so each individual championship is unique in and of itself. So you treasure each and every one of them, and hopefully the kids they treasure each and every one of them, and hopefully we didn't get it done this last year. We got there, but we didn't get it done, and we'd sure like another shot.
Yeah, and I'm sure that shot will present itself. Well, one of the last things I'd ask you is you look back over all these seasons and you think of the kids that you've worked with. What kids stand out that have maybe gone on to D1 schools or gone on to the NFL that have had the privilege of coming through Oceanside High School?
We've got a weight room full of pictures of kids that go on and play college football, or a wall of kids that went on and played professional football. We have been fortunate to have a number of scholarship kids or kids that just go on and play at the Division II or Division III or community college level. If we're doing our job right, football gets in the blood. Yeah. And when you're a senior and you're done, you don't necessarily want to say that's it, it's over. And the other thing is, those that can't play, a lot of them come back and coach. And I'm proud that our coaching staff has a large number of ex-players on it, which adds to our continuity and the history and the pride in Oceanside High School and being a part of the program, the past success, and everybody cheering for the future success. But there's a whole variety of them. We've got a number of them out now at Division I schools. I'm going to forget somebody, so I apologize in advance. But Jordan Wynn, the quarterback at Utah, Sam Brenner, starting offensive lineman at Utah, Ryan Schwenke, starting offensive lineman at Cal. We had four guys go down, or 5 guys down at San Diego State right now that Josh Feely and Renee Sayuano. We had Roberto Wallace just graduate a couple years ago that played it with the Miami Dolphins the last few years. And I'll tell you an interesting story, Jose Perez, and tell you an interesting story about Roberto. You were asking about stories. Roberto was an individual that came to school here from Panama, had never been in the United States before, and came out and was a soccer player. And he's this big, tall, athletic-looking guy that didn't know how to use his hands and had been taught you're not supposed to use your hands, and didn't know what a hash mark was and a end zone and et cetera, the numbers on the field and all the landmarks that you use. And over a 2-year period, the development that he made was incredible. Wound up getting a scholarship at San Diego State, played there, graduated from there, and wound up with a free agent tryout and made the team with the Miami Dolphins. And this was his second year with them, so that's exciting. Terry Vaughn, who I know works with you guys, was one of the early kids here who one of the things I'm most proud of Terry about is Terry went on, I don't think a lot of people know this, but Terry was the very first true freshman to start in the Pac-10 at Arizona. And an injury occurred and it affected his career, and wound up playing for a long time and great success in the CFL and working with you guys. But we just got a lot of guys out there. William Buchanan played with the Raiders. Joe Salavea, long-time NFL career. Pulu Pumele, guys that had come through Oceanside High School and got a chance to go and take it to the highest level. So it's fun, it's exciting. I think we got a couple of those guys that are in college right now, and I apologize to those guys whose names I missed, but we got a couple of those guys that might get a shot at the next level. So it's been fun. And one of the most rewarding things as a coach is when the guys come back as men and just to visit, to say hi. And it made a difference, it made an impact. And nothing puts a smile on an old coach's face like an ex-player coming back to say hi.
Wow. Well, you mentioned Terry Vaughn, and he's one of our receiver coaches out in the state of Arizona now. And along with him, I know Coach Van Tassel, who's a receiver coach with us, he had a little coaching stint here with you as well. So I know he's worked with a lot of receivers and just such a gifted player, and he really empowers youth. And so I guess Eric was with you the first CIF title you guys won here.
He was. I'm so old now, I can't remember all the years, but Eric was with us for a number of years and did an outstanding job with our receivers, and had a good rapport with those guys, got good results from them out on the field. And I guess one of the things I didn't mention, which just reminded me of, what's one of the most fun things about coaching is the relationships with the players and the fellow coaches. You know, it's a coaching staff is a team within a team, and you got to get along together, you got to work well together, and you got to be on the same page. And I've been blessed with great coaches and guys that were on that same page and had that same mission and shared that same passion and love for the game. And then from there, as a coach, it's the relationship that you have with your players. It's a special relationship. It's unique. You can't get that relationship in the classroom. There's nowhere else you can get it than dealing with the highs and the lows, the successes and the failures out on the field and the challenges that go with it. It's just an incredible experience. And you'd asked the question earlier, you know, what drives me? That's what drives me. It's the relationships you have with people.
Yeah, wow. So many lessons that we can learn from Coach Carroll, and even life lessons, you know, developing excellence on the field and off the field, and you can kind of see that bubbling over every word as he shares with us. And Coach, we wish you continued success here, and I just want to thank you for taking some time with us, because I know, you know, those that would only be able to watch, you know, on YouTube some of the clips of you guys playing in a highlight game or whatever. It's great just to get a sneak peek into the kind of the heartbeat of a program, and so we appreciate you taking some time out with us. This has been fantastic.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, John. And